sinks, and I got involved in the Woody Guthrie Center when I retired from the phone company a few years ago. This place started in 1992. A lady named Thelma read a book by Joe Klein called A Life, Woody Guthrie, and inspired her to start a legacy for Woody Guthrie here in Pampa, Texas, because he lived here from 1929 to 1936. He was 17 when he moved here. His mother was in a mental institution, dying of Huntington's disease, although they didn't know that at the time. They hadn't diagnosed it yet. And his dad had moved here. He'd lost everything in the Depression in Okema, and he moved here to start a cot house across the street. And Woody followed his dad here and got a job in this drugstore, the Harris drugstore, as a soda jerk. And so we were able to purchase this drugstore and turn it into a little kind of a living museum of Woody Guthrie, and a legacy of his life, and a place that we can remember what he was about. He was one of the first activists that I know of, a civil rights activist. He was all about the working man, the common man, about people getting decent wages for a day's work, which was hard to do at that time. And anyway, he was an important figure in this country, and Thelma thought that we should recognize that, and this place should be a part of that. And you know, those years, he was 17 when he moved here, very formative years in a young man's life. And he got to be good friends with the librarian in this town. It said that he read every book in the library. He painted a picture for that librarian. Her name was Elizabeth Todd, and she was a descendant of Mary Todd, Abraham Lincoln's wife. And I think at about 18 years old, he painted a picture for this librarian. We have a little bitty copy of it here. It's in his book. There's a book that was all of his art. But he did an oil painting of Abraham Lincoln for her, presented it to her, and it hung in the basement of our library, which used to be under City Hall, for years and years, and then it got lost. We really don't know what happened to it. But I've heard it turned up somewhere, but I'm not sure how that happened. But anyway, he was a well-read. That was pretty much his education. He had to drop out of school because he had to work. And but he was a avid reader, and he read about everything. You know, he just didn't read about, you know, entertainment books. He read about religion, about politics, and he was interested in the human condition. And in a small way, I would like to be able to preserve that, the scope of what he tried to do in his life. You know, I don't know, he was misunderstood and misquoted, and you know, people called him a communist because he supported the unions and trying to get workers' rights. And but he said himself that he wasn't exactly a communist, but he'd been in red all his life. Famous quote of his. Then I heard it said that he was an atheist. Well, one time at a hospital when his daughter Kathy got burned and subsequently died, he rushed in there to see her and see what was going on, and they had him filling out papers. Well, one of the questions was, what religion are you? And he answered, all. And they said, we can't accept that answer. He said, well, then none. And he was in a hurry, and he rushed on, you know, anyway. The first answer explains Woody Guthrie's idea on religion. He believed in all religions, and he believed that there was one God for everybody. And he himself said that he had his own religion, and whether we liked it or not, we were all a part of it. It was a one-man religion, but the whole world was a part of it. And, you know, his religion was love your neighbor. And I think it says that in the Bible. You know, God is love. And I think that was Woody Guthrie's idea of religion. And so he was not an atheist by any means. You don't have to read much about Woody or hear many songs to know that he was very spiritual, and he was a deep individual, and influenced so many musicians. You know, you go to these festivals, or you just listen to the, you know, people on the
on the stereo, Bruce Springsteen, Bonnie Raitt, well, the list goes on and on and on, you know, but he influenced so many people, and his writings are still coming out. He's relevant today. I get things all the time, newspaper articles, things about him, and people will call me, what would Woody think about this today, or what would Woody say about this? And of course I don't know, but I like to give him an answer I think would be appropriate, you know. Anyway, just a fascinating man. I've really enjoyed learning about him and trying to carry on this tradition of love and tolerance, and you know, having a place that's all inclusive. Anybody's welcome to come. Anybody can come up here and play and pick, and we get here for Friday nights, and anybody in the community can come. And then we have people from all over the area that stop in at different times, and all over the world. We've had people from Finland, folk singers come in and sing Finnish folk songs for us, Scottish folk songs. Had people from Japan, Germany, all over the country, and they just want to go down Woody's Road, and this was part of it.
Very nice, very nice. Well, thank you very much.
I don't know if that was any good or not, but this is some books and letters. I don't know if y'all are interested in some letters that Woody wrote. Of course, they're copies, but letters that he wrote, like to nieces, and he was big on writing. You know, he was a big letter writer anyway.
He'd write a letter when somebody was born in the family, and like this one here. It's pretty long to read the whole thing, but it's just written to a baby and telling her what to expect out of life, and you know, giving her some insight on what she might look forward to and what she might think about the things that she was going to learn. And he did this for new babies when they were born into the family.
Oh, wow.
And, which they might not ever get to see him or meet him, but you know, it was a lot of the people that didn't like him here said he abandoned his family, but that really wasn't true. I mean, it was the Depression and the Dust Bowl. There wasn't work that he wanted to do around here. He didn't want to be a farmer, and there wasn't much farming going on anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And he didn't want to work in the oil field. And anyway, he went out to California like so many others did. And it would have been unkind to drag his family along on that trip. You know, they had a family here that could take care of them. And when he got work out there and he got settled, he sent for them. You know, of course, that marriage didn't last. They eventually split up, but he didn't forget about his family. He sent for them as soon as he could. He just, you know, his wife's brother, Matt Jennings, he played in a band with him here called the Corncob Trio. And Matt told his sister when they were going to get married, he said, you know, Woody is the most unlikely candidate for a husband on the face of the earth. But she married him anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't look at him.
Unlikely candidate for us. Are you pulling lines to your next children's book? Yeah, sure, yeah.
I think we got a Woody Guthrie children's book over there, by the way.
Oh,
Land is Your Land, that
yeah.
long one.